Hello, I'm back with week 6 of The Artist's Way. I was really hoping to record this on Saturday like I had planned to. It's now Wednesday. Things just didn't really work out how I was wanting to. So I'm once again midway through the next week as I'm recording this for last week. But I did try to do a little extra kind of preparation for this, but I did it a couple days ago, so it's not fresh in my mind. But I can talk to you about this week still, because this week made a lot of sense to me. And it was about recovering a sense of abundance. And I mean, a lot of the other weeks when I read the title, it didn't really click with me, like what actually it was about. But this week was really it felt pretty clear, especially to me, because I think this was an important week for me too. Recovering a sense of abundance in terms of, well, money, obviously, how we think about money, how we use money as a blockage to not make art. It's so weird staring at this tiny little version of me right in front of me, but I'm trying to like make eye contact with the camera, but it's so distracting. Anyways, yes, money, but not just money too. And I really appreciated that it wasn't just about recovering a sense of abundance as it relates to money, but recovering a sense of abundance as it relates to everything in your life. And I kind of feel like I really like that phrasing of it, recovering a sense of abundance, not like repairing your relationship with money, because there's so much more that goes into it than just money, I really feel like. And it's almost like your relationship with money is an extension of your relationship with abundance. And yes, this week was really good for me. Because I don't have a good relationship with money or with abundance. I noticed just like in my day-to-day life, for example, I think this is related, but like in my day-to-day life, for example, I have a day off, I immediately feel like, okay, I've got this giant to-do list. I have to do all this stuff first before I can do anything that I want to do. And obviously your to-do list, it never ends. Your entire life, your to-do list is just gonna stay about this big, and it's not gonna actually end. It's like those scrolling sequence at the end of movies or something. It just keeps going. And I don't know why, but I do feel like that's related to a sense of abundance or something like that. Like, I'm kind of unpacking this in this moment, so it might not really make sense, but it kind of just feels like thinking like you have to do everything you have to do first is kind of a punishing way to live, and it punishes you to never do the things that you want to do. Well, that's a good way to stay blocked too. Favorite block. And it's almost like you can't see past all the to-do list and all the like lack, almost like to-do list feels like a lack, like everything missing in your life, everything that hasn't manifested yet. Like, oh, I gotta get my bike repaired, oh, I gotta do the dishes. It's like these are all negative spaces of things that you don't have. And I think just focusing on that to-do list of things you don't have, it's just gonna keep getting bigger. You're gonna keep making it bigger because it feels like the only thing that's real and the only thing you're doing that's like productive is entertaining this whole like list of lack. So I've really been trying to start the day off doing something that I enjoy doing and that I like doing and that I want to do, instead of starting it off. I have a horrible habit of starting off the day by just like waking up and like, wake up, get dressed, blah blah blah, do your stuff, brush, and then getting to the kitchen before even eating breakfast, being like, oh, I have to clean the kitchen, and starting by cleaning or something. That's not a good way to start the day. You know, you don't even get like, you start like stressed, you know, you start with like, gotta do, instead of like, I'm gonna sneeze at some point, and maybe, instead of starting like, oh, it's a beautiful day, like, let me just chill out, relax, like, let me make my cup of tea, enjoy my cup of tea, enjoy my breakfast, oh, it's yummy, oh, I'm nourishing myself, oh, I'm putting fruit on my breakfast, eating fruit, oh, yum. And it just sets a different tone for the whole day if you're just rushing into like stress mode, basically. I think it's like a habit of rushing into stress mode instead of like allowing yourself to relax. And that ties it in to something else that I have been looking at this week, which is exercises for, okay, I'm gonna totally say all this wrong, so I'm not an expert at this at all, and you're gonna have to, if you care about this and it sounds interesting, you're gonna have to look this up, and you're gonna be like, Sophia said this wrong. But basically exercises for polyvagal regulation, which is basically like nervous system regulation to keep you in a calm, collected state. And I've been noticing in myself, I'm not super regulated. Looks down in shame, but I really want to try to be, and I want to assert myself in my agency to actually regulate my nervous system when I'm stressed out, when I'm feeling angry, when I'm going into like a shutdown mode. I'm not going to explain the whole like polyvagal system, but basically it's like, oh, you have safe, happy, connected, regulated, feeling good. Then you got like fight or flight mode, oh shit, stress. And then on bottom you got shut down mode, body shutting down, totally overwhelmed. And it's kind of like, that's not even that important for what I'm saying. But I guess what I'm saying is that like, I think your sense of safety is connected to your sense of abundance. So when you don't feel safe, when you're not in that safe, connected, regulated nervous system state, and or you don't let yourself be in that state or help yourself to be in that state, do things that help you get put in that state most of the day, you're not going to be feeling a sense of abundance. You're going to be feeling, you're going to be over here, fight or flight. You're going to be feeling danger, fear, a sense of lack. That's going to translate to your relationship with money, your relationship with your relationships in your life, job security. You know, you're going to be like, oh, I don't have enough of this. Oh, this is missing. Like, I need, there's something I need to be safe that I don't have. Something I need that I don't have. When really the thing you need maybe is to take some deep breaths, or to like, I don't know, regulate your, like, I guess what I'm saying is like, I think that your relationship with abundance is tied to your relationship with your own sense of safety and your own regulated nervous system. And I was kind of realizing that this week, how like your mindset about things changes whether or not you have like regulated your nervous system. Yeah, I'm not gonna like, I think a lot of people, including my own self, felt like somewhat triggered about this week. That was like, for example, is like, money is never an excuse to not be creative. Okay, so I immediately hear that. I'm like, yes, it is. Like, what the fuck? Like, literally, like, well, it doesn't hurt or help or whatever that the person who wrote this book was pretty wealthy. The example she gave was like, I haven't bought myself a horse in a decade, and then I bought myself one. Yeah, but I do think she has a really good point about that, because I think you can always be creative no matter what your financial situation is. And yes, of course, not having money causes stress, not having money causes problems. this is all real. But despite all that, I think you have the power to overcome your stress, and I would rather believe that than the opposite, that you don't, because when I believe that, I notice that things change. So I'm choosing to believe that. Okay, so that's kind of my preamble, my 10-minute, 30-second preamble for this week. I haven't even opened the book yet. Maybe I'll open the book. No, maybe I'm not gonna open the book right now. I don't know if I even need to. Maybe I will open the book. I'm gonna open it. Let me just like look over real quick, because it might. I wrote some stuff down about like things that happened in my week, but I want to just make sure that I really like look over, like remember what's happening. Okay, so yeah, this was good. Okay, so part of it talked about asking God for help with money, and or like asking the universe for help with money, which once again I was immediately kind of resistant to, like, you know. But I was like, okay, this book is asking me to do things out of my comfort zone, so I'll just do this. This is not in my comfort zone at all, and I don't have, hearing that, I'm not like, oh, duh, genius, let's do this. I was just kind of like skeptical and like, I don't want to do that. That feels fake and stupid. But I did it because it asked me to. So that was one thing. And then talked about luxury, doing things that feel luxurious for yourself. Not like it doesn't have to be something expensive. But I was just realizing kind of what I was talking about earlier, like all the ways that I deny myself small luxury or pleasure. Like for me, I love having a relaxing morning. I literally love it so much. It feels very luxurious for me, and it doesn't really cost anything in a way. Like, I just got to make sure I wake up with enough time to kind of hang out a bit in the morning, you know, eat my food, drink my tea. So it just talks about these small luxurious things you can do for yourself that aren't expensive and make you feel so much better, and like you're really listening to your wants and taking care of yourself. And talking about that as abundance too. Okay. Oh, and then it asked us to like count how we spend all our money in the week, but I didn't do that because I feel kind of like I already do that in a way that's kind of obsessive and not healthy anyways, so I was like not doing that. And I keep track of my finances very meticulously, which is maybe not good, maybe it is good, I have no idea, but I definitely noticed I get like obsessed with that. So for me, like my relationship with money, I feel like it oscillates between like, no, you can't get anything you want, like you can't buy the things you want, that's too expensive, you're trying to save, and then, oh no, like you should treat yourself, be nice. And like I can never tell, did I do something good or something bad by buying this? Did I spend too much money, or was I not spending enough money on myself? Things like that. This week didn't really fix that for me or something, but I think it started getting at it. This like anxiety spiral kind of like cycle that feeds itself. I think it is rooted in like a sense of abundance. Now the other thing it made us do was more of the fill in the blank word written. This is not a good explanation. Starts the sentence and you fill in the rest. Okay, people with money are blank. Money makes people blank. If I had more, I'd have more money if blank. And I'm settling in. I liked doing this. I'm not even like there's a ton of these in the book, and I'm not actually sure if they're helpful or not, but I really like doing them, so I have been doing all of them. And I do think I learned some things where I was like, oh, didn't realize that, like for example, two different like my own relationship with money, where I'm like both kind of like holding back, like no, like you can't spend anything, and then the one where I'm like, no, it doesn't matter, like treat yourself, blah blah blah, all this stuff. I was realizing how those two very opposite relationships with money was like the relationships with money that both my parents had, like one had each. And I was like, oh, like that was like a kind of like, I mean, I'm obviously, I don't know for sure, but I'm assuming that that was kind of like a point of contention, or like energetic cycle amongst them that I picked up. And I hadn't realized that before, and I don't know if that really it does not fix it, no. But I think it's good to know that that didn't start with me, or like, it feels good to know, oh, this is just a habit you learned, and you can unlearn it too. Okay, and then I'll get into the exercises. So one of the exercises it made us do was to go out in nature and collect rocks, but I didn't feel like I was gonna find any rocks in this environment. So I just collected flowers. That was another one. It said another one was pick flowers. Actually, I'm realizing I just did a different one. So I went in the neighborhood and I picked flowers. And let me tell you, I had a good time picking these flowers. And I picked leaves too. And I was noticing, well, first of all, since I started this Artist Way book, did I talk about this in the last video? No, I don't know. I might have just told someone this. I've definitely been noticing how much I like flowers. Every time I go on a walk, I'm just noticing all the flowers and, you know, stopping to appreciate them more than I have before. So this, I think, was a really good exercise for me. So I was going on a walk around my neighborhood and picking flowers. I have a little tote bag, also had flowers on it, and some scissors. I was picking flowers, and it was really interesting to see which flowers I was letting myself pick. I first kind of started like, I'm just gonna pick the obvious wildflowers, weeds that people plant. Weed flowers, wildflowers, things people didn't plant, because I felt bad to pick any flowers that people had planted. And then slowly I started picking some of the ones people had planted that were on the other side of the sidewalk. Like if it's house, sidewalk, little tiny slim patch of grass before the road right here, just on that little slim patch of grass. But I could tell people did plant them, but it felt a little more public, not just in somebody's yard. So then I started picking those, and I was a bit nervous at first, but then I did pick them. And then by the end of it, oh my god, I actually feel bad saying this, but I was picking flowers from people's yards that people planted, and I still feel guilty about this. But I was also just noticing this idea of like, I don't deserve these ones. I don't deserve the ones that look really nice, all the really pretty flowers, all the ones I really want to pick. And then by the end of it, I was like, okay, I should just pick them. And if somebody comes out their house and yells at me, then that's what's up, you know? I'm not even sure 100% that these people wouldn't be generous enough to just let me pick one flower from their bush. So I just did it. I mean, nobody came out their house or anything. Obviously, I mean, I think people were at work. I looked out. But I was noticing how I didn't think I deserved them, but how obviously they were. It would be, you know, a bush with a ton of flowers, and I wouldn't even let myself pick one of them. And I was like, this is kind of ridiculous. I can pick one flower. It's not gonna hurt it. So that was a wonderful exercise for me to overcome some of that I don't deserve this abundance energy, and then to be like, this sounds kind of bad, but like, I'm taking what I want, or I'm gonna at least try to take what I want. There's nobody to ask about it at the moment, and I'm gonna assume that it's okay rather than assuming it's not okay, because both are an assumption. Yeah, so that was one exercise I did. And then, you know what, I'm gonna read you my notes that I'd written, because it might be a little more cohesive. Yeah, because this actually starts at the beginning of the week. So we're gonna go back in time a little bit. So the beginning of the week, day 1 of the week, on Monday or Sunday, No, day 1 of the week, I did my artist date, which was I took myself to go get craniosacral therapy done. Which I think that is an artist date. Yeah, I'm gonna go with that. I think it's an artist date because I think that that does have to do with it because that connects back to my ability to regulate my nervous system. The reason I was going in was I was hoping it would help my POTS and hopefully just kind of like open up some stuff for me energetically and like help me process some kinds of like trauma and energy stored in my body. Which, as I was saying earlier, I do think really does relate to your sense of abundance. So that was my artist date, and it went really well, but I also felt extremely sensitive for the rest of the week. Yes, I didn't really expect that at the end of the session, but then that was what had happened. So yes, I did my craniosacral at the beginning as my artist date. The very next day, I guess you could say synchronicity alert, synchronicity alert. I went to, I'm not going to tell you the backstory really about how this happened, but I went to an interior design firm and got a ton of fabric samples, and mostly fabric samples and some wallpaper samples, tons of leather squares. Like literally my car was packed with this stuff. And when I first got there, I remembered being like, I don't think I'm gonna take any of this. You know, my house is so small. This is just so much stuff. I don't even know what I'm gonna do with it. I don't even have my sewing machine out. I don't have a project planned. I haven't sewed in a really long time. I'm just feeling kind of like, oh, I'm just about to accumulate some shit, you know, that I'm never gonna look at or do. Because you know how it feels when you get something and you never do anything with it and you just feel like you've been hoarding. So I have that a lot. And also I'm also very adverse to things in my space not being functional or not being used too. I'm really like, I want everything, like I don't want to have all this random shit. I want to have just stuff I'm using, just stuff I like. Yes, okay. And it obviously limits my perspective. I'm learning right now. So I got there, my first instinct was like, push away. I went with Finn because Finn wanted to go, but I kind of thought in my own heart, oh, I'm not really gonna want anything. I'm just coming with Finn. And as I started looking through, I started letting myself say yes. And I hadn't even read this chapter yet, but part of it was, one of the tasks is any new flow in your life, practice saying yes to freebies. So I did that task inadvertently. And I noticed this shift in myself though, from being like, I don't want any of this, to actually getting really caught up in the wonder and the like fantasy and the joy of all of these, like all this texture and color and fabric samples. And suddenly I'm letting myself want it and letting myself be inspired and letting myself think creatively about it and think, oh my gosh, I could make this with it. Oh, this would be so pretty. Oh my god, I love these stripes. This looks great with this. Oh, what if I did this? Oh, we could have a whole business, like a small side hustle, little business selling these little things. And it was like, my perspective just totally shifted just from literally just from like letting myself have something that was being offered to me instead of being in that place of denial. And I think that is really what recovering a sense of abundance is about. It's about like, you don't even realize all the abundance that's around you and that's possible to accept if you're constantly denying that to yourself. You know, because if I had thought about it as, oh, this is just a bunch of shit, I don't need this, then it never would have even occurred to me that that could have been something really incredible entering my life. It would have been like, oh, I dodged a bullet, you know, something like that. So I'm opening my eyes, and now I have all this stuff. And even though my apartment's messy, you can't see it, but my apartment's so messy. I'm getting ready to move. It's never been this messy, and I hate when it's messy. I'm live, laugh, loving like this. And I am still really happy that we ended up getting all that fabric, and I'm still super excited about it, and just like I'm just really, it just really inspired me, and I feel really good about having received that. So that was something that happened this week, which was pretty amazing. And let me see if there's anything else. Oh, talked about clearing your space. Sorry. Obviously I'm packing stuff. I'm clearing my space. We're getting ready to move. I'm like super preemptively packing out of anxiety, but we can call it a good thing. I moved my couch out, put on the side of the road. Oh, my hands look so big. Yeah, just been trying to get rid of some things I don't really want or need anymore, and like finally like gathered the courage to go through some of my stuff that I had been avoiding going through for a really long time. And the other thing to kind of wrap up this week, unless I look at this afterwards and have anything else to say, is that because I was feeling so sensitive from the craniosacral, which I don't think I guess I don't need to explain what that is. If anyone's curious about it, you should just look it up. But it's kind of about like releasing tension by like very lightly touching nerves in your body. Yes. Anyways, I usually go to a dance class on Saturday, but I didn't really want to go to this dance class when the time came, because I was just feeling really sensitive and kind of like, I don't know, I was sensitive. Basically, that was it. I didn't feel like going, really, even though it's usually something I really look forward to and really want to do. So I felt kind of bad that I didn't want to do it. But I had to honor my needs in that moment. I like wanted to want to do it because I know oh, Sophia, you usually really want to do this. This will make you feel good. And I was skeptical about trying something, oh, this looks cool, new. But I ended up going to Moe's Art Supply, which is only a 6-minute drive from my house. So I went to Moe's Art Supply because I haven't been to an art supply store in a long time. And yeah, and I got a sketchbook. And well, let me back up a little. I went to Moe's Art Supply because I was like, I haven't been to an art store in a long time, and it's very exciting to be in an art store as an artist. You know, it's like so much stuff. Especially Moe's has like just a lot of nice quality stuff, and I'm always just in awe of it. There's so many things I constantly see, like these big, super fat oil pastels that are literally like this thick and $13 each. Yeah. Tons of stuff like that, just like crazy materials I've never tried or wanted to try. So I went in there and I was like, okay, well, I'm just gonna go in here, and if I walk in and I just want to leave, then I'll just go to Contact Improv and like my dance class and whatever. But I walked in and I immediately saw all these little like animal figurines, and I was just like, I don't know, I got sucked in immediately, basically. And I was just walking around, and it's kind of the same thing with the interior design stuff. Like, I just let myself actually be in awe and be inspired and want things. And I ended up walking out with like $75 worth of stuff, which was not that much stuff. Not that much stuff at all. But when I was in there, I think kind of how it started was I was like looking at the sketchbooks, and I just kind of realized it's pretty important to have a sketchbook. And I kind of have a bad relationship with sketchbooks. It's probably part of the reason I'm doing this whole Artist Way thing. But I always feel like they have to be like I think I literally got ruined by like the Tumblrification of sketchbooks, and where it's like everything just looks so perfect. Like illustrators just like using it as like a format or something, you know, just or maybe just people are that good and everything they make looks good and then they post pictures. I always wanted my sketchbook to look like that. And of course it never does. That's actually not what a sketchbook is for. And I'm also not, I mean, currently, I'm not a visual artist. I was trained as a sculptor and ceramicist. Like, I don't have that much practice with drawing. So, of course, my sketchbook's not gonna look like that. Like an illustrator's is going to look. But I'm backtrack a little bit more, yeah. So I just basically was like, I need a sketchbook, and I'm scared of getting a sketchbook because I've always wanted to look perfect, but I'm just gonna do it. And I was picking up the tiny sketchbook, super tiny ones, and I was like, because I always want to minimize myself or like my practice, I was realizing I'm minimizing myself by trying to buy this small ass sketchbook. So then I was like, no, I'm forcing myself to get a normal size sketchbook. And then I was turning the little thing with all the sketchbooks. I saw the giant sketchbooks, the biggest sketchbooks ever. And I was like, oh my god, that's so big. Like, that's such a big sketchbook. And I was like, it's too big for me. I'm not getting that sketchbook. That's too big. That's too big. And I was like, wait, what? No, it's not actually too big. Like, why am I telling myself this sketchbook is too big? Like, it's not like, oh, now I can't bring it somewhere or something. I could still bring it around. But I mean, you know what I'm getting at. I just thought in my head it was really too big because I was once again still trying to minimize myself instead of being like bold and fearless about my art practice. And, they tell you that in school too, be like, for example, in a drawing class, people always tend to draw really small, and the teacher will be like, no, like, you got to take up the whole page, use the whole page. People have a real tendency to draw like this big in the middle of the page, or to buy a sketchbook that's not that big. So a lot of professors will also tell you, you got to get this normal size sketchbook, don't get that small one. So they really know what's up. And I experienced that firsthand. So I got this sketchbook. Then I got 2 packs of stickers. And I got some drawing tools that I had been looking at for years and never tried out. So I got some really pretty, like, colorful, kind of pinkish red ink that I want to draw with. I've drawn with it in black before, but not in pink. I just thought it would be really fun. I guess that one I have kind of used before, but I still want to try the pink. Then I got not the giant one, but a small version of the really thick oil pastel in this metallic gold color. I got a watercolor pastel in turquoise, and then I got another cheaper oil pastel in purple. I think that was all I got, yes, and it did add up to $75. But let me tell you, I think it was worth it. And I think it's like, I mean, I was telling myself, oh, you can't afford this, but in reality, I think I can afford it. And I'm happy that I spent that money on myself. And because I think when you don't spend the money on yourself, on the things that you want to, does that make sense? When you don't spend money on the things you actually really want, you'll end up spending money on things you kind of don't really want, like stupid things. When you're not really letting yourself stay in touch with the things you want, you gotta feed those spirits inside you, or they'll. So I felt really good about that for myself, and I'm gonna show you this sketchbook now. So probably if you're watching this and you already saw it because I showed a couple people, well, you don't need to watch this, but I'm gonna show everyone else. Okay, so I was really excited when I got home. Okay, yes, also this is how big it is. It's so big. This is like the size of a normal sketchbook for comparison. And I just really wanted to decorate it because, well, it's called a creative solution, I think, because, I have how I was talking about, I have this problem where I have a bad relationship with sketchbooks. It's almost like they don't feel safe. Oh man, I got glue all over it. Okay, well, that's normal. That's normal for a sketchbook. It's fine. Glue spilled in my bag. Anyways, I have a bad relationship with sketchbooks where I want them to all be perfect. I realized it's because they don't feel like a safe space for me to like play in and make mistakes. So I really wanted this to feel like a safe space for me. And I've noticed this tendency in myself that I need to make things feel homey for them to feel safe. Like I really like interior design, and I'm peeling off glue as I'm talking, so I'm sorry, I'm distracted. Really like interior design. Don't look at my room, my space, and judge me. It's not perfect, but I'm just saying, like, in general, I like making my space look cute, basically, because it just makes me feel like I can really relax and be myself. So I always like to just make my space feel cozy. Maybe cozy and cute are the two like real words that make a big difference. So I was like, okay, let me make my sketchbook cozy and cute. So I got these sumo wrestler stickers and I put them all over the front. And I thought they were really cute. And I thought it was perfect because I think sometimes it's really hard to make art and it kind of feels like you're fighting a little bit. And I was like, maybe it will feel less scary and if I can make fun of that part of it, and I can have sumo wrestlers because, you know, they're a little bit funny. I don't know if that's rude to say. I think they're funny. I think they're a little funny. And they look cute in a sticker form too. Yeah, so I was like, okay, this can be like kind of symbolic and like playful. And then on the front I also, I forgot, one other thing I got is origami paper. This is a piece of the origami paper I got, and then this is a postcard that my mom found in a dumpster, that she pulled out the dumpster, and I glued that on the front because, you know, I was talking about how I've been liking flowers. So as I was making this, I was just noticing I already was like wanting it to look perfect, and like that hesitation was making me stop from doing anything. And finally I was like, it doesn't fucking matter, like let me just do it. Doesn't matter, it doesn't need to be perfect, like it just needs to feel like me and like put some energy into it, like. So I glued this stuff on, and then on the inside, oh shoot, there's stuff falling out. Okay, I don't know if I can show this on YouTube, the second page, because it has some photocopies from like a figure modeling book, and everyone's naked. I don't know if I can show that on YouTube or not, so I won't show it. But this is a self-portrait, and everything's backwards, but this is a self-portrait I made when I was a kid of me as Santa that I photocopied and turned into Christmas cards. So I'm trying to, you know, connect back with my inner child here. So I glued this on the front, and I'm calling it an art journal and not a sketchbook because I think a sketchbook can be kind of limiting, and I want it to just feel like I could put anything in it. It doesn't have to be art, it can just be stuff I find, stuff I like. And then this page here, this is more, gosh, I'm poking myself, it's too big. Okay, this is more origami paper. I just wanted to look cute. I put all that wallpaper I got from the interior design firm, I already put it up high, and so I couldn't really reach it. So I was just like, I just use my origami paper, it's fine. Yeah, so I used some origami paper here to make this look cute. Then I cut up one of my last essays from school, or I don't know if you call it essay, like project proposals for a ceramic project. I cut it up and I put some of the words, I put like love words. Why do I feel like you need to see my lips to hear me? You don't. I put like what I call like love words down here at the bottom. So these are words that make me feel safe and connected. And then on this side I put like, I guess you'd call it challenging words. So I put challenging words on this side, where it's words that maybe feel a bit triggering for me or feel loaded with pressure in the art making process or in other ways. Just to acknowledge that. And so maybe I'm struggling making art, I can look back at this and just see, oh yes, this is just one of my struggle areas. just like some of these other things, and I can reconnect back to myself with some of these love words. This was from the sumo wrestler stickers. I just put it on for fun texture. And then I cut up a piece of criticism and added more to it that was written on my project proposal. I mean, it wasn't that critical, to be honest. So it wasn't like, oh, you were so rude, and I just, now I'm making it sound good. It wasn't, I can't say it was like that harsh or anything. But I just thought it would be good to somehow use that and incorporate it, because there were genuine compliments in it. And then there was stuff where I was like, this is putting a lot of pressure on me. So I just took that out, and I'm taking what I like from it. I rearranged some of it. I added my own stuff. And most importantly, I put a note from all my stuffed animals and all my toys that I like, that I feel connected to, and all the fun characters I've made that I will sometimes just pretend to be. And so it can be like a little love note from them, a note of encouragement, which really made me feel good and safe, and feel like this is starting to be a really safe space. And I'm just gonna close this. And I'm planning on taking pictures of all of them, or Polaroids or something, printing them out, and then putting them in this book too, so I can just look at all their cute little faces, or I can draw them. Something like that, to have that in here too. So I guess in a way this is kind of like a ritual object, and a practice too of like letting myself feel safe and connect that sense of safety to my art making process. And I'm also planning on going back through some of my old journals and old sketchbooks and finding, I guess you could call it forgotten threads or forgotten ideas, things that I wanted to do that I just kind of abandoned. I'm thinking about in Shark Boy and Lava Girl, when they're going through the like land of abandoned dreams. So I'm thinking about doing that and putting some of those in here and gluing it in, just to honor those and to like come back to that, and just, yeah, I don't know, I think it could be good. And then also I was thinking about making an artist date bingo card and putting that in here. Yeah, so you can see it's not really a sketchbook in the traditional sense. I will still probably draw in this, but I just want to add other things to it too. Also, just to not limit myself in my creative practice to drawing as how I'm engaging with two-dimensional work. Especially since I do, at this point, a good bit of like photo and video work. And, well, I want to incorporate drawing. Okay, whatever. I'm getting off topic. Okay, I think I'm just gonna end my video here because it's getting super long. But in summary, this was a really good week for me. Week 6 was really, really awesome, and I feel like I've made significant progress both in my developing relationship with art making, and like developing like a real kind of habitual practice, and reimagining how that should look and feel, and creating that sense of safety in that space for myself. And then also with my relationship to abundance, and with my relationship to myself and my nervous system states, that will allow me to be in a place to receive gifts and help. Okay, so that is all for week 6. If you've watched all 44 minutes of this, thank you very much. And I love you and I appreciate you.